I want to thank everyone for coming here today to join us for the launch of the Music Saves Mountains campaign. This is an exciting moment to really raise awareness on the egregious practice of mountaintop removal all over Appalachia. We're launching this campaign today with music's greatest artists to really tell the nation what is happening here in Appalachia. How this practice is devastating communities, devastating valleys, rivers, streams, watersheds, and how we can move towards a future that doesn't require it. One of the first artists to join us in this effort and really leading us in our effort for Music Saves Mountains is NRDC's dear friend and musical legend, Emmylou Harris.
The Appalachians are the sacred ground of country music, and that's why it's so important that we band together to stop this extraordinarily obscene practice of blowing the tops off these mountains that are so rich with heritage. We want to educate the nation, the media, corporations and public officials about the need to protect these mountains from mountaintop removal. We really believe in our hearts that music really can save mountains.
We need to change the cultural assumption that it's okay to blow up mountains in Appalachia. It's okay to put mercury and arsenic and chromium and cadmium, which scientists have documented are poisoning the water supplies of countless communities. Hundreds of communities throughout Appalachia are losing their water supplies, not only for drinking water resources, but for recreational, tourist, and economic purposes. Over the last 20 years, the amount of coal mined in Tennessee that comes from mountaintop removal has increased from 23% to 69%. During those same 20 years, there's been a 70% decline in mining jobs in Tennessee. Mountaintop removal puts people out of work. And there is no economic development that happens after a mountain gets blown up. It's a job killer, and it does not produce economic development, and it poisons water supplies. And it poisons our children's future. Lead and cadmium, which cause mental impairment, will have generational effects on the communities of Appalachia that are already struggling to find viable economic opportunities. This is a human rights issue. This is a civil rights issue. This is not a Republican or Democratic issue. And now the music industry, the country music industry, is coming together to help protect our environment and stop mountaintop removal. Mountaintop removal is taking the country out of country music. So it is appropriate that we're here at the Ryman with these artists and the ones that will perform tonight to say enough and no more.
I'm from West Virginia. I grew up there. I know the place. I'm a hillbilly and proud of it. I flew over mountaintop removal sites for the first time a couple of years ago. It's been quite a life-changing experience. I've heard stories of coal dust building up inside of a closed freezer, inside closed houses, a half an inch of coal dust, just from living in the community, and people who have lived on pieces of land for generations, watching the community slowly disintegrate because person after person can no longer take it and move away. I am interested in civil discourse. I'm interested in having a very difficult conversation civilly. I'm interested in considering all people's needs. If the prosperity of some people is built on the exploitation of others, everyone loses. Something must change. The situation as it stands cannot go on.
I too am a 7th generation farm boy from the Appalachia, raised in Culpeper County, Virginia. And we took off on a Saturday morning and flew the way a crow flies from here to my home up in Virginia. And during that flight, I saw an environment in a part of my country that I did not know existed. It looked like a moonscape in a war zone, and there is a lake as big as any I've ever seen, and the water is completely black. I have visited the area several times. I've walked in people's homes. I've turned on their faucets and seen black water run from their sinks I think families really even have a sense like that now, that the belief that I've got to have this job to put food on the table for my children. But then not taking it one step further to realize that the job that I'm doing that is putting food on the table for my children is poisoning the water that my children are drinking. Each and every one of us can make a difference. We can write and talk to our governments, to our legislators. We can support grassroots organizations that are on the front lines.
We still have a voice. We want to use it. That's why we're all here.
We just need to change the cultural assumption that it is okay to do this. It is not okay to blow up Appalachian mountains and destroy communities in order to get coal. We hope that through this fight, we will start to educate people about alternatives to this type of practice. We could be putting wind farms on these mountains that produce energy for a lot longer than a ton of coal does, that produce jobs for generations, and produce more jobs per BTU produced than does coal mining. We need clean energy solutions for Appalachia. We need green job opportunities for Appalachia. We don't need to be putting people out of work and poisoning their water through mountaintop removal.